Hi FLOSSTUBE friends, and welcome back to my channel, Susan X Stitches. Excuse me, if you are new here, welcome. Today is Sunday, January 4th, 2026. Happy New Year to each of you and your families. I hope that this is the happiest, healthiest, and most prosperous year ever. As we come through the end of this past year, whatever holidays you celebrated, or even if you didn't, I hope that you had a little warmth and light and love, and I know that my family and I had a gentle, cozy time together. We had great food, we had sweet fellowship, and a little bit extra much needed rest as we eased into the new year. So this is episode 6. It's been a hot minute since my last video, and yeah, actually about 6 months. So that's a length of time. I want to acknowledge that absence because it didn't come from out of nowhere. As many of you may recall, I've been dealing with ongoing eye issues, and specifically something called trochleitis that has impacted. It's a pulley which runs your ligaments for your eye movement up and down, side to side, all the different directions, runs across this pulley. It's up the upper inner corner of your eye, and it becomes inflamed, and so all of these movements in that eye become painful, and it was hard to deal with. The pain was, and it not only impacted how much I was able to stitch, but it also impacted my confidence in filming. At my last episode, which was filmed July 5th of 2025, I was in a very difficult place medically. I hadn't yet received my first eye injection, and I was on a medication that was making it hard for me to process words and thoughts quickly and almost in real time. It was quite difficult. Filming is already challenging for me, and that made it even more difficult. After that video, there was a comment that was left, and it really hurt my feelings, and it caused me to take pause. It may have seemed small or insignificant to the person who wrote it, but when you put yourself out there, and especially when you're unwell, those things can land much harder than people realize. I had my first eye injection about 3 weeks after filming, and because the inflammation was so severe and even worsened before it ever improved, during that period I stepped back, and I wasn't physically able to stitch much, and I honestly didn't know when or if I would ever feel ready to film again. I'm still not 100% confident in this decision, but I am here. I have some stitching to share, and more than anything, I've missed this community. Today is about gently coming back, reconnecting with all of you, my friends, and doing this at a pace that works for me. One thing that I really want to share is how important stitching has been for me throughout all of this. It's given me peace and calm where there was a storm. It helped to keep me in the present. It does help to keep me in the present moment, and especially on these days when my brain wants to run in every direction. During the healing process, stitching grounded me in a very tangible way also, because I was able to see my eye improve in real time. And that was incredibly reassuring and confidence boosting. These injections are ongoing. The pain still comes and goes depending on where I'm at in the injection cycle, but stitching has remained steady and a quiet place for me, even on the days that were the hardest. My hope is that at the end of this episode, by the end of this episode actually, you'll see continuity even in illness. This isn't an I'm not stitching much episode. This is truly stitching through healing episode. So thank you for being there and here and for your kindness. The friends I've made through the stitching community are incredibly precious to me, and not something that I would trade for anything in the world. So thank you, truly. I invite you to grab your favorite beverage, your stitching, sit back, and let's catch up. All right, we have beautiful sunlight here this morning. I live in Spring Green, Wisconsin, and it's obviously snowy here. It's winter, and we are, I think, expecting more snow this afternoon. So I'm hoping to get this filmed before that snow starts falling, because we're going to lose some good light at that point. Excuse me just a minute. Okay, so today's episode has our fully finished objects, has some finishes, has some works in progress, some haul, some plans. So we'll first start with our fully finished objects. So let me just reset for a minute here and get us to the right first item. Filming these floss tubes, I work really hard to put everything in order and get everything laid out and make it so that it's seamless, but there is always a little transition, so I apologize in advance for that. The first project, I should say, that I want to talk about, and if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen these finishes, but I believe they are so beautiful. I want to show them to you in kind of with me narrating it and getting to see a little bit more detail and maybe even the backstory a little bit more about each of these projects. So anyways, words, Susan. It's hard sometimes, I'm telling you. Okay, so the first one though is called Red Bird Sampler, the Spanish Stitcher by Trelly. And this was started March 3rd of 2025 and finished 6 days later. This would make a great blessing sampler if you are still looking for a blessing sampler for 2026. I stitched this on 56 count paper bark by Fox and Rabbit using an Atelier Soie silk 103 in the colorway 115. Finished with this bold dark frame, aged gold fillet, and museum glass on the back. I have all of my items, all of my projects framed at my friends and Lynn's in Madison. They do a really nice job, and I believe that you would agree. So hopefully, if you ever get an opportunity, you will be able to stop in there or even use their services. I'm not sure if they ship framing, but if they do, you will not be disappointed. Lynn's Arissa is their lead framer, and she is very, very talented. So I love how little this guy is, but yet how bold the frame is in comparison. I think that contrast just really is a nice look for the eye. Okay, so that's the first one today. Red Bird Sampler by the Spanish Stitcher Trelly. Okay, now we're moving to the next one, which is Welcome All Seasons by Lizzie Kate. This was stitched years ago, and it's stitched on a natural 28 count natural linen using Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works. It's finished in a vintage matte black frame with this cheerful yellow accent and museum glass. So I have my ring light on just so to help it a little bit, so hopefully the glare isn't too bad, but you can see it's just super sweet and a piece for all year round. I was really, really, really excited. We tried many, many different frames with this, and we ended up with this yellow, little pop of yellow, which just brought some cheerfulness to it for the year. I think he's really, really sweet, and I have yet to hang him up yet because I've been waiting to film a floss tube, and so it's taken me, as I said, a minute to get back here. So I have a special place in mind though near my front door, so hopefully after this is over, I will go hang this up. All right. And when I say many, many years ago, that piece was probably stitched late, maybe late 1990, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s, like a long time ago. This piece also was stitched around that same era. This is Buzzzzz by Bent Creek. I know this is still a pattern that is in production, or you can still buy this chart. It's really extra sweet though. It's stitched on 32 count Autumn Leaves by R&R Reproductions with Weeks Dye Works. This was during my purple era, and has a petite frame. No glass, even though I always choose glass. I didn't choose glass. It has these little tiny buttons, and Arissa and I decided that we should keep the glass off of this one. Plus he was just so little, and glass probably wasn't necessary. But lots of charm, and I just really love him. Yeah, he's fun to touch and look at. Okay, the next one is, there was at Lynn's, when you go in and you look in their framing section, you'll see that they have some pre-made frames, and I'm not sure if it's just like odds and ends of frames that they've cut down, you know, from bigger frames that are now, you know, just extra pieces laying around, and so they've made little frames in various sizes. I'm not sure if that's what it was, or if they're actually just pre-made frames that they make and just for people just to come in and buy off the shelf. Probably a mix of both. But this is Snowman, some assembly required. This is a Bent Creek chart. I am not sure if this chart is still available for purchase, but I'm thinking that maybe it is. This is 32 count ink spot by R&R Reproduction, and again, this was a pre-made frame, and I did have museum glass added to this piece. Really sweet and really fun to have up throughout the winter time. I just have him leaning in an easel, and I will keep him up for a while. So, I just think that's so cute. All the snowflakes, some assembly required though. Okay, try not to drop them and break all these glass pieces here. Okay, so the final finish, fully finished, that I have for you today is All Joys for Thine by Blackbird Designs. This was stitched on 40 count baked clay by Fox and Rabbit. I started this in January of 25 and I finished in May of 25. I personalized this to honor my grandmother Margaret J. Wilson, which you'll see the personalization in just a second. She was born in 1910, and her birth year is on there. I also incorporated initials, my initials and my mother's initials, along with our birth years, stitched 1/1. It was finished with museum glass and as well, and here is the finish. So you can see Margaret J. Wilson. I recharted and removed the All Joys for Thine. I added the 1910, and I added initials, my mother and I's initials over here, and our birth years in the 1/1 stitching. I just really love how this turned out. I think it is absolutely beautiful. I think it is heirloom quality, and I know my grandmother Wilson Huck, would be very, very, very proud of this piece, and she would be very honored that I spent time stitching something with her name on it. So Blackbird, of course, are just classic designs, and they do lend themselves well to customizing or personalizing with your family years, names, etc. to make them more personal to you. So again, I am really, really, really proud of this finish. And it did not take as long as I thought it might take me to finish, so I just think he's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. Margaret J. Wilson, 1910. Yeah. So wow, she would have been 116 years old. That is old. Seems old. Okay. Now we'll move into finishes. That concludes my fully finished items, which we call FFOs, if you see that written never. So finishes now are just projects that are finished but aren't in their final format yet. So may not have gone off to the finisher or to the framer, just may be a flat stitch piece. So unfortunately, in this case, I've got 3 that are at their finisher, respective finisher. So 1 is at a framer, 2 are at a soft finisher, and I will talk a little bit about these, but I will share more about these when I receive them back and they are back home with me. So the first one was the Black Rooster 1811 Stitch Along. I will put a picture right up here of my finish for you to see. But this was Soed Idee. It was a weekly SAL that Simone gave to us starting on June 28th and ending on September, I think it was 12th or 13th. It was the final weekly installment. It was an extremely meaningful stitch to me because this was completed during the time when my eye pain was most intense. And I worked almost exclusively on this chart to make sure that I stayed current and to make sure that that I could stitch it. I did stitch it on 56 count, and so you say, gee, Susan, you know, you say your eye hurts, but you're stitching on 56 count, and that's true. I did stitch it on 56 count. My eye did hurt. It hurt really badly. But I was able to take it in small little bits throughout the day and just powered through because I really wanted to not be defeated by this silly eye. And so I just did it to prove to myself that I could do it. And I don't know. It turned out really beautifully. And I know once it's back from the framer, it's over at Lynn's. Probably, yeah, it should be done probably in the next, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I don't know, a couple weeks from now. I'm unsure exactly when it's due, but we dropped it off, I think, in October, so it should be any time now. All right, then the next one that I have as a finish is called One Stitch at a Time. This was stitched, this was a stitch along also, stitched with the Across the Pond Facebook group. That group is led by Somi Sarah, Angie, the Tiny House Stitcher, and Marie, Stitches and Diamonds, and also the owner of Swan Bay Fabrics. Those 3 women come together and host this group. They do a marvelous job. They have a monthly Zoom call. I think it's the 2nd Saturday of every month. You have to register for a ticket, so watch the Facebook group page and you'll see when it's time to sign up for that. And I will post all of the links if I talk about anything down in the show notes today, so you can go and have those for future reference. I did modify this. Again, I'm putting up this picture right here beside me, but I did modify this chart, and by stitching, instead of the flowers across the bottom, I chose to stitch an alphabet, and so I charted and stitched an alphabet beneath the house, and I have a very special finish planned for this. And again, this is over at my finisher, or out with my finisher, Faye Rigsby, and she has something really special planned for this for me, and I am excited. So stay tuned for a future episode, and I will do the big reveal at that point. Okay. The third finish that I have is Silent Night, Pinkeep and Ornament by Stacy Nash. Stacy is just a very brilliant designer. I believe she's incredibly talented, and I love everything Stacy Nash. So I know that a lot of you do too, and her animal crackers are wildly popular. She has a lot of other things also that are incredibly adorable as well. So this is one of them. It had been in my stash for a while. Again, I'm going to put it up here. Been in my stash for a while, and my friend Renee, Prairie Stitcher 515, she had reached out to me and wanted to come by for a visit, an overnight visit to Spring Green, and we did. So she came to my home here in Spring Green, Wisconsin, and spent the night with me in September. We stitched, we laughed, we had good food, and we just enjoyed the camaraderie and stitching together time. And I started this Silent Night and Pinkeep ornament. Then for Sampler September, I had not started any samplers in September, and so I decided this would be my Sampler September start. I finished it in early November, and again, it's off at the finisher, so I am looking forward to having it back. And on a side note, my friend Renee, Prairie Stitcher 515, she lives down in Iowa. She is going to be starting her own FLOSSTUBE channel, so this is really exciting. I think she and Kim, Contented Needleworker Kim, filmed maybe a joint FLOSSTUBE sometime in early November, mid-November. I don't recall. I was getting ready for my European river cruise tour, and so I was in any place but FLOSSTUBE land. So, but I think that's when it was early November. But I will link her channel below here so that you are able to go and find her and follow her and show her some love. She has a beautiful home. She does beautiful stitching, and I know that you'll enjoy her. She's a great person. Okay, so the next finish I actually have in person. Imagine that. I am finishing this myself. It is still in progress though, but I have the stitching done. So here is where we are. And this was from the Jingle Ball 2025. The stitching is complete, assembly is pending, but these are my Gingerbread man sewing books. Gingerbread Man, I guess. Gingerbread Boys. I think it's called Gingerbread Man sewing book though, is technically. But there's the front cover of this adorable little book. And you can see it's just shaped like a gingerbread. And I have the back side complete as well. You can see, not a good spot to hold on to him. So cute. Yeah, I think these are, I can't remember what it said. Oh, finish size 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So these are tiny little guys, and so I did the stitching, went ahead and did the lining, cut it apart, sewed it together. So each of these little guys are now flat. The front and the back are sewn, and they are flat. Maybe if you can see that he's got a little seam, not perfect, but I am always proud of anytime I hand stitch anything. I'm very proud of that work, and you can see that they match up in size. Good job, Susan. So that's fantastic, and he's just really waiting on me to start the finish on the inside. So the inside has this adorable little thread needle bed made out of a coordinating wool that I need to tuck and pin and then stitch on him and stitch on to the inside here. And then Stacy finished hers after she has it, you know, attached. She finished hers with every other one French knots in red and every other one French knots in white. So lots of detail. I am not sure if I am capable of doing the French knots, but I'm going to give it a try and see, you know, if I can do it. But I'm not sure. The every other one concept kind of scares me. Actually, all of this kind of scares me. I tried it and I took it out because I just couldn't quite get it to be like a true like circle. So I don't know. I'm working on this and I'm getting up some courage here. Maybe someday at the end of January I'll give that a try again. But the other side, so this is the back side, has a heart, adorable, that needs to be hemmed and stitched on, affixed to the back cover. And then you leave this open for scissors. Stacy, you are a genius with your designs, and I know that so many people have finished these, but mine is still a work in progress, kind of, for that finishing. But the stitching is complete, front and back. I also have then to attach this little tab to the inside, and then there's a buttonhole, which I have attempted. I'm not sure I'm going to keep that buttonhole, but I have a button that I will also use. It's just a little antique button there that mother of pearl, kind of in a floral shape. But I just think he's just honestly the cutest, and he matches so well with the gingerbread house. And so this is meant to be a companion piece, and yeah, I love it, Stacy. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm very excited to fully finish this one. Okay. Then the final, I'll just lay him over there for now. That over there. There's so many things, you guys, when you're filming these floss tubes. Okay. Okay, the final finish. So I live, as I mentioned a minute ago, in Spring Green, Wisconsin. So I have the luxury, and I am so blessed to be able to go down to Country Sampler anytime I would like and just go shopping or pop in for inspiration, and that's what I do. So I had gone in I think it was mid-December to pick up my 2026 Book of Days. If you are not using a Book of Days or any kind of a calendar to track and record your progress on your stitching, I highly recommend it. It really makes it fun at the end of the year to go back and see where you have been, what you've stitched, and kind of see what else is going on at that point in your life, and you know, maybe understand why you've been able to stitch a lot or why you haven't been able to stitch a lot. So anyways, I use the Book of Days. I think they are beautiful, and there's always a chart. They include a free chart. They also include some graph paper. And I actually, when I recharted my All Joys for Thine, Margaret J. Wilson, I actually used that graph paper that was included in my Book of Days for my paper, for my chart. And so I charted Margaret J. Wilson, and then the years 1910, and then my mother's birth year, my birth year, and our initials. So I used it, and I'm very, 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 very proud to say. And I just think they're very fun to keep, and you know, as time goes on, then to be able to look back at. So, Book of Days. Went to Country Sampler middle of December to pick up my Book of Days, and while I was there, of course, you know, something else calls its way and makes its way to your basket, and that was the case here as well. So I found I saw this adorable model that they had and it's Country Santa, Teresa Kogut. And I was like, I need to stitch this. So Linda, my friend Linda that works down there, she helped me get it all kitted up and set up. They had a kit, I think, already kind of built, and so it didn't have linen in it, so I selected my own linen. And in this case, I selected, because I found this beautiful piece of linen. I don't know if you're going to be able to truly see the beauty of it, but it had a lot of modeling on it, and it had, I thought it was, excuse me, just nice tone that matches the called for floss. And so he is stitched on 28 count Prim Gray by Dames of the Needle, and using the called for floss, which was a mix of Valdani, Weeks, and DMC, I believe. Maybe it was Classic Color Works. I don't have it up here, but anyways, Classic Color Works or Weeks, doesn't matter. But some overdyed, and then DMC. And I really felt that he turned out really beautiful. And I stitched him and finished him. So I started him on the 19th of December. I was able to finish him on December the 30th. And then on December 31st, New Year's Eve, sorry, I did my partial fully finish and stuffed him with the crushed walnut shells. My additional or final finishing details or finishing plan that I'm planning here will be, because I hand stitch, I do not know how to use a sewing machine. I don't own a sewing machine, but I wanted to just get him finished. Like, some things I'll send off to the finisher, but some things that I feel that is square, like I can do this. Or I have Stacy Nash's tutorial video, and I've got it up and I can follow direction there. But this guy, I was pretty confident I could do on my own. So I started him and on New Year's Eve and got him filled with the walnut shells. He is hefty. I love that, though. He's going to set really well in the dough bowls for next year. And I don't like, though, how wonky my corners are. So I still need to go in and do my, my tucking and making sure that, he's square. He's so heavy, though, that some of this sagging is just naturally what's happening. I can certainly push him out, but he does have some kind of funny pokey corners, and he's kind of, again, sagging and pulling in on the sides and stuff. So I need to work on that and a little bit more. And then finally, I left a piece of my red thread there because I am going to do long arm crosses across the two seams to finish it. And I think that will be the finish. That was the finish that they had at Country Sampler. And that is what I fell in love with. So that's what I'm going to do also. He is really, 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 really cute. I just think Teresa Kogut has the sweetest little faces. And yeah, I don't know. She has another one that I went to her Patreon and found and bought because I think it was Stitchy Linda. Finally a Farm Girl, I think is her name. Anyway, Stitchy Linda. They were doing a Any Santa SAL Stitch Along, and she was stitching this one, which was Santa with Anne and Ted. And so I went and acquired that chart. So yeah, that's going to be my next one that I start of Teresa Kogut. Yeah, I used to not, I wasn't really in love with Teresa Kogut, but whatever happened this year at that Jingle Ball with that Midnight Santa stocking, oh my gosh. I have a piece of linen ordered up for that, and I cannot wait to get that and get it started. My Alan, my significant other, he smokes a pipe, and so the pipe smoke and the pipe smoking Santa, like, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do that. I do think I'm going to finish, speaking of Midnight Santa, moving into plans, so we're all over the place here a minute, so bear with me, but I do think I'm going to finish him straight as opposed to a stocking. And I think I'd be able to do that by just moving over the foot portion of it and filling in wherever there's missing stitches. I think I can extrapolate out the chart accordingly. So anyways, that's my plans for Midnight Santa, but I fell in love with that Santa, and then it was at that point that I was like, oh, let me look at more at Teresa Kogut and Santas. And so anyways, and then of course, you know, there's the pink Santa and the green Santa and the blue Santa and the Hello Santa book, and then her Patreon, or not her Patreon, but her Patreons, and every month, and then she also stitches and incorporates charts into the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. You know, again, I'm not telling you all anything you don't know. I know you all know this, but it's just, Teresa Kogut and I are a new thing, and I think this Santa here, where he's delivering the stars, oh my gosh, look at his belly. He's flying through the air over all these trees, delivering stars to the skyline. How cute is he? And his face, oh my word. Anyways, just adorable. Just adorable. And I know that you will also agree, if you have not found Teresa Kogut Santa yet, you will need to be doing that soon, because all the cool kids already have found it, and now I'm in that mix. So, okay, those are my finishes. So now we're moving into my works in progress. Our timing, I think we're doing pretty good right now. So I've got we still have works in progress, WIPs. I still have some haul to show, and I want to talk a little bit about plans. So let's get going on our WIPs. Let's see. Okay, so the first one here, and I have my board. Just make sure I've got it all lined up. One moment here. I do hope that today's episode is going okay, and we are not, yeah, I hope it's going okay. That's all I'll say. Okay, our first one is my board. I'm rusty too, right? So I haven't filmed, right, since July, so there's a little rust over here, but anyhow, we're making it through. Okay, so the first one here is called Blanche Wagstaff Xmas or Christmas 1877. So this is a chart that is by Pineberry Lane. Pineberry Lane up at the top there. And I saw this stitched in 2023 at the Christmas open house down here at Country Sampler. They had it leaned up on their mantle with several other red stitched samplers, you know, with the Christmas, kind of Christmassy themes. And I was like, oh, I have to get this. So I got the chart at the time. I didn't buy the kit. And just because I wasn't sure, I was still like just coming back into stitching, and I wasn't sure, do you buy the kit always, do you not? But anyways, I bought the chart enough. I had that and wherewithal. And so when we were getting ready to go Alan and I went to Europe, and so when we were getting ready to go to Europe, I wanted a stitch that I could take along, and so this became my Europe trip. I'll talk about that Europe trip in just a second at the end of this first project here, but first things first, I want to get through this. So Blanche Wagstaff, and this was my choice to take with me on my trip to Europe. So she's being stitched on 36 count needle and flax hawthorn using the Aversois Goblin in the color, what is the color? 2922. So it's a beautiful red. Looks beautiful against the linen. And as you can see on the chart, it's rows and rows and rows of alphabets followed by just little border stitches. And then in the bottom, she says, Blanche Wagstaff, Xmas 1877. And so I have a ways to go yet. Not a very big chart, 135 by 200, so should be manageable. Should be able to have this done and framed before the end of the year. So yeah, I just think it's really pretty. And I am not a fan, though, of stitching with the Goblin silks. So interestingly, when I came back from Europe, I was watching the December Floss Tube by Brenda and Laura, Brenda and the Serial Starter. And Brenda was describing a similar experience, and she says she will never stitch with Goblin again. And Katie Strachan, I know, frequently uses Envers Soie Goblins in her conversions. But I also think and know she stitches on Legacy linen. Legacy linen is not the same linen as an over-dyed linen. And the Legacy linens have more body. They have a little bit tighter weave than many of these over-dyeds do. And so this combination of a soft linen coupled with this Goblin, which is thicker, I think they say it's about 1.5 times the diameter of a single strand of DMC. So the coverage is really nice on my 36 count here. Really nice coverage. But what it is, because it is so thick, and then I'm guessing it's the twist that's on it, it doesn't want to hold its shape especially. So you pull it tight, and then I found myself pulling it so tight so it didn't slip back out of the hole that I was deforming my lines on my linen. So I'm going to persevere and keep pushing forwards, because I do love the chart. I do know that I'm going to love the finish even more. So I'm here for it. I'm committed to it, but it's not my favorite stitching on a soft linen with the Goblin. Beautiful though. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. So that is what I took to Europe. And so now, just as I transition here a minute, about Europe. So on an aside note, on November 20th, Alan, my dear Alan, and I, we headed off to Prague to get onto a Viking riverboat. And we took a river cruise, and we sailed from Prague to Berlin. It was a 10-day adventure. We had the best time that you could ever imagine. I was able to find Czechia crystal antique Christmas trees to add to my collection. If you know, you know. Someday maybe I'll show you some of my collection of those. They're so beautiful and they are so cool. We saw the astronomical clock. We enjoyed beautiful countryside. We sailed on down the elegant Elbe River and saw the famous Dresden Christmas market, which is over 500 years old and the oldest Christmas market in Europe. And we went to the Meissen China factory, and Alan bought me a beautiful Meissen porcelain crystal thimble. Let's see if I can open this box. It's a little hard. But it's just a white porcelain. And it's so beautiful though. You can kind of see where it's smooth and then rough on the points. So it is marked. Let's see if you can see that marking. But anyhow, it's a Meissen thimble. And so that was fun. We enjoyed Wittenberg and and seeing where Martin Luther nailed his 95 Thesis to the door of the Catholic Church, and where the modern day Lutheran Church was started. We enjoyed delicious food all along the way. We spent a day in Potsdam. We spent, I think, a couple days in Berlin. We went shopping at the KaDeWe department store, and honestly, just so much more. We made lifelong Viking friends, and in fact, just yesterday. We spent yesterday, that's why I didn't film yesterday instead of filming today, booking our next, finalizing our next cruise, and our friends that we met on our first Viking cruise are also going with us for May of 2027. We have a new adventure planned, so stay tuned. I highly recommend the Viking. It is a world-class experience. They take such good care of you, start to finish, and we wanted for nothing. Anything that you needed, they were there for you, and attention to detail was spot on. So I know that that you would not be disappointed either. If you ever have an opportunity, do take it. Okay. So then my next WIP is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and this was a free weekly chart, 4 weeks installments from the Historische Stickmuster, and that is a shop out of Germany. I can't recall what German town, but I looked it up because I was thinking maybe we would be able to go on it or go visit it during our cruise. Unfortunately, it was like 4 or 5 hours away from where we were, so I was unable to make it, but at some point I would love to get to their shop. I understand it's really nice. So in any event, I did not print because I'm stitching this. It was, you know, a download chart, weekly installments. I did not print a working copy, so I'm stitching off of my iDevice, my iPad or my computer, and so I will insert though right here a copy or a picture of what it looks like, what the chart looks like. I know now you can buy this chart on their website, but it is a paid chart at this point. So we had the 4 weeks to download the free, but now it's paid. So I am stitching this on, I think this is a Legacy linen using the called for Soed Idee silks, and I just want to reorganize so I don't lose that spool there. Okay, so called for Soed Idee silks in beautiful colors, bright colors. So there's like an ivory, there's a brown, a light brown, red, blues, greens, yellows, more browns, and then kind of a, I don't know, a little bit brighter blue. So really, really, really pretty. And yeah, and again, I'm putting a picture right here for you so you can see it. I am stitching this 2/2 on 37 count corkscrew willow by Legacy linen. So I started stitching 1/2, and I felt like the linen was just making it really hard to see my snowflakes, and so they were kind of getting lost, and so I wanted that definition. So I frogged and quite a bit and came back, and I'm now stitching 2/2. I really love the way that the stitches are standing out. I love the, you know, the dimensional aspect of it, and that, you know, when you rub your little hands across it, it's really, really, it's really textile, and you can see it. So yeah, I don't have a very big start. Again, this was, I don't know, I think it was right after we got back from Europe, and I was still in a fog, but I did not want to miss the free portions of this chart, and I wanted to get it started. So so anyways, that's my start. If you would like to see a beautiful finish, I have a friend, Bettina Butner, and she's on Instagram and Facebook. I will link her below, and you can go see her beautiful finish. She is a Speed Queen stitcher, and the stitches are, I mean, her stitching is beautiful, and the charts that she stitches are not insignificant charts. They are gorgeous, and Bettina always is the fastest to have all of these completed every week. And she stitched the Black Rooster 1811, and she was also stitching on 56, and two of us were talking back and forth about, oh my gosh, were you able to get, you know, like, and so it would be a race to see who was going to show theirs first. So anyways, she always beat me, but I always tried, but she always beat me. Anyways, nice job, Bettina. Beautiful work. Again, you can see a little bit of that work there and a little bit of that start. So it's a square picture. It's a square finish, and and so it's snowflakes, and then, well, you'll be able to see it already. I will have popped it up here, so I'm not going to elaborate. Belabor the point. You'll get it. Gorgeous, and I can't wait to have that one continue on. Okay, so next we're going to talk about what I have chosen for my blessing sampler this year. Instead of starting a new project, I have decided that finishing my oldest WIP would be, in fact, a blessing in and of itself. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. And so my oldest WIP at this point is Windsor Sampler 1820 by the Wishing Thorn. And on the July 5th episode, I believe, you were able to see my progress then, because I had just stitched a little bit with it a little before that. I think I'd had a Zoom call and I had pulled that out maybe as my stitch, because again, I feel a little guilty when it gets to be my oldest WIP and it still hasn't had much love. So then I try to do my best to compensate for that. And I think I had just pulled it out and shown you that I had some further stitches on it. And so here we are, though, with where we are today. So I pulled this out again on New Year's Eve and then also New Year's Day. So my final stitches of 2025 were using the MPI Silks silk in the color 824. Where are you? Here we are. I don't know if that is a very good representative color or not. I know we're kind of losing some light here, so kind of speed up a little bit here. But anyways, 824 NPI silk on 40 count milk and sugar by Fiber on a Whim. And when you saw this last in July, I was, I think, up here around the CD area. I know I had just finished this and made my way to C or D. And so now you can see that I finished out that entire row and the next row. So finished down, bringing the sides down, and this is what the chart looks like eventually. So I have a little bit more of that bigger kind of center alphabet, another little fleur-de-lis kind of divider, then a small alphabet, another divider, and then the final 1/1 alphabet down at the bottom before it finishes out with another little fleur-de-lis and then the border. So this row up here, this little alphabet, is also stitched 1/1. So it's, yeah, that's actually about a good color, I think, for what it is. It's really vibrant. The blue is very vibrant, and the linen is milky, creamy, but also has some yellow in it, and it's really almost breathtaking when you see it in real life. It's stunning, and it's been an absolute joy to stitch. The MPI silks are so fun to stitch with, and this is definitely not disappointed in that regards. So, okay, that's my progress. And so my idea of the blessing is this is going to be a blessing to me if I can get this finished by the end of January. So I am keeping this out as my focus piece, and I will continue to stitch on this throughout the month and have a finish for you, hopefully at the next floss tube. Eek, love it. Okay. So my final WIP that I'm going to show and talk about today, this chart was found on a D-Stash site back in the summer of 25. So I've had it for a little while. When I received it, I ordered up some linen that I thought would be really pretty with it, and I also ordered the DMCs. And so the DMCs are interesting colors, as you can kind of see. But the name of the chart, we'll go there first, is called Alphabet Floral Alphabet Sampler 1860 by Cross Stitch Antiques. And I saw this and I was like, oh, those letters are so beautiful. Now, each one of these letters has like 9 or 10 color changes. So I have a thread bed of, a little piece of wool, needle that I'm keeping all my needles in, right? A little piece of wool, and I've got all of them thread, all the colors threaded, because when you're going, you want to be able to go fast. And so anyways, here we are. So 9 colors. It's so slow in progress, but it's been incredibly rewarding. And this is obviously a long-term project, but it is a beautiful one. So I have 2 letters though of the 26. So now I'm making some progress at least. But let's see here if we can. Yeah, I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, but you can maybe see. Take it off the board here. Maybe see. Yeah. Yeah, and so I am stitching this on 40 count vintage pecan butter linen by Lakeside. Again, using the called for DMCs. And it's so sweet. It's so stinking sweet. It's interesting. This I'm assuming is the antique, so it doesn't quite match. This picture doesn't quite match what the DMCs are, but I'm gonna just go with it because I do think that this is a sweet. I do think this is sweet. These are sweet colors and beautiful together. So yeah, but that linen, the vintage pecan butter linen by Lakeside, is luscious and oh, I know, so pretty, so pretty. Okay, each letter again uses the 9 different colors, so it is slow, but I'm making some progress. 2 out of 26 letters. So stay tuned. That one will continue to also pop up for me through the year. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There have been more WIPs that I've worked on over these last 6 months, but I want to kind of move now to haul, I think is where we're going to go, and then we're going to talk about some plans. So the haul situation has been strong. That there's been, again, no shortage of haul and stash acquisition opportunities. So I'm very proud of those. Very proud that I've able to persevere through all of that as well. Being silly, but I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so I have my bag here. Or my little basket full of stash. Okay, so this is just a few things as I was putting this episode together yesterday. I wanted to kind of just show you some current kind of haul, as opposed to some of this goes back a little bit, but most of it's kind of current. So at some point maybe I'll go back and show you all of the things that I've acquired over the last 6 months, but maybe not. Maybe we'll just go forward and call it good. If it comes up, you'll be like, yeah, she must have gotten that whenever, when she didn't talk to us about it. So, okay, but the first things that I want to highlight today are these project bags. And look at these project bags. So these are made from vintage cutter quilts, I think they're called. And this is a maker from Etsy. And her name is Stitching with Bears, Erin of Stitching with Bears. And she did really nice work. She used the YKK zippers, so they're nice, big, heavy zippers. Solid, beautiful interior, you know, matching fabric. Zips really nice. Unique, one-of-a-kind kind of project bags. Same, you know, nice size. And yeah. And then there was another one that I found. This one is pink on this side and green on this side. I think is a Dresden plate. I think maybe is the pattern. Beautiful, beautiful bags. And her inside, this again was actually the same. I just realized that. Yeah, the same insides for both bags. But I was really excited. I received these right before the new year, and she sent the sweetest little note thanking me for helping to support her and her family. And you know, we do need to support these small makers on Etsy, and anytime we can, we need to do that as an as a community, as an organized group of stitchers. So I know that we do, but I was hoping that I could just make that little also plea to help little Erin with Stitching with Bears. She did a great job. And I had a scissor zipper pull, and this is a Pax's Design zipper pull that I acquired from Hobby House. Really, really sweet, pink strawberry with a leaf, and then I think there's a little daisy charm. Yeah. Anyways, so cute. Okay, she did really quick shipping and very reasonably priced, if you ask me. So I will link all of these down below in the show notes. Okay, so the next item that I wanted to talk about, because I did actually just receive this yesterday, and I think these were shipping a little late. So if you are a subscriber of the paper copy, they should be in your mailbox coming soon. But Primitive Punch Needle and Primitive Stitchers magazine. And again, this just has designers in punch needle and cross stitching, you know, that come out, and I think they're 4 times a year. I know you can also get a digital copy of it. There was some delay with their publisher, and so these are just hitting mailboxes now. So mine arrived yesterday, which was great. Then my friend Rika of House of Stitch and Stash. It is a tongue twister. And this was right before Christmas. I saw these. These were launched on her website, and they are, oh my gosh, so cute. I didn't take them out of the bag, and I probably should have, so I apologize for that. But they are needle minders, and the first one is Santa's Workshop. Yep, adorable, detailed, adorable. And I'm thinking maybe this is the Liberty Stitchery. Thinking maybe she's going to have a whole little village full of needle minders. And I am here for all things village. So we have a snow village, Department 56 Snow Village. And I have some other little villages that I've collected over the years. And so a needle minder village makes perfect sense for Susan. So Rika, if that's what we're headed here, I think that's awesome. Then our next item of stash acquisition, where are you? Put them down in this basket, and all these little goodies have fallen to the bottom, so I'm digging deep in here. Let's see. Okay. These mini McBeans. Yeah. counting pins. Mini McBean counting pins. Okay, so now we're going to go by each one's individually. So this one is the stocking. And he is so, so pretty. So I think it was, yeah, gosh, I can't remember. Was it November or it must have been November. I saw that she had some new ones and you could place an order for them, and so I did. I got on right away and was able to get them, but she shipped them from England or wherever she lives. This guy, look at how pretty he is. Get up and see the camera frame. So sparkly, little heart. I thought it would be sweet with my threadwork primitives. Heart duo, be true, and then the hearts. So cute. Okay, but this guy I think is my favorite, and that is the frog. Oh my word, look at his little face. He's so happy to be hanging out with you, and we are so not all that involved and excited with him, but he's happy, so we should be happy too, I guess. But anyways, darling, darling, darling. So thank you, Sue of Mini McBeans, for your design and your creativity. And yeah, counting pins. Counting pin collection is growing. Okay, and then our next item. Now, I was going to go look and see. I don't know if these are still available, but in 2024, I think it was, Katie had an original release of this white dove where she, and if you watch Katie Strachan, you will see where she goes through and talks all about the design elements of designing this. Katie does a lot of Christmas ornaments as well as just basic ornamentation stitching, and so this was one of her originals, and she re-released or had a second kitting of the white dove, and so, or the crystal dove, and so when I saw that that was going to be released, I set my timer. Katie, very proud of me, set my timer and went and ordered. I think I received 3, so I have 3 of these to make up, and I'm sure at some point I'm going to be like, I'm never even getting one done, so how am I getting 3? But Katie's attention to detail, and I'm sorry it's so papery moving, but her attention to detail is, and her instructions are incredible. I mean, you know, she's got the bead packets and they're all labeled. She's got felt and labeled what it's for. She has, you know, 2 kinds of specialty silk threads. She has, you know, different kinds of fancy beads with all the sparkle. Anyways, and then, of course, all of the instructions to be able to successfully complete it. And so I know that that is going to be something that I want to do with my mother. So, so we're going to be doing that one of these days together. Okay, but when you place an order on Katie's site, you can't just let the doves fly alone. So Katie also has a conversion for Plum Street Sampler Flag Thief, and it is absolutely adorable. And then she's converted it to silks. I think it's a mix of Goblins and Alvera Small 103s. And then she has some tiny little star beads on hers as well, and maybe some little beads in the windows and such. But anyways, I've been admiring this chart for a while, so I picked that up. And then she also reimagined and beautifully finished the Stacy Nash Gather Thy Harvest Pinkeep. And so when you order your kits from Katie, she converts it. These are, I believe, maybe these, yeah, this is also a mix of Goblins and 103s. And then she's got some some beads for the finish, and then she also includes her piece of linen. So, and she does exclusively, I think, stitch on Legacy linen. So Goblin and Legacy, I would imagine, go well together, but I don't know that for a fact. Okay, we're getting close, guys. Bear with me. Okay, we've got, I picked up on eBay, I was able to find 2 out-of-print charts that I've been looking for. The first one is Easter Peep by With My Needle and Thread. So that is going to be, I think, a March start for me. I'm excited. And then this one I know a lot of people have been looking for or look for all the time. There's a whole group of people out there, but I also found Merry Christmas Ella Vaughn by Blackbird Designs and picked that up off of eBay right before Christmas. Okay, then when I went to Country Sampler's holiday open house in early November, I think it was, I picked up Caroling Caroling, Bells Are Ringing, Christmas Bells Are Ringing, and they had it kitted, and I believe it's all called for actually, and even with the called for Alcott by Needle and Flax. It did not have the gold filament thread in it, but I was able to order that, and I am all set, ready to start that. It is a beautiful chart, and I might make a change to the pink house. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I just recently made a purchase and ordered quite a few, a nice smattering, I would say, of color and cotton, and so I might try to maybe brighten that up a little bit, vibrancy-wise, with color and cottons, but we will see. Okay, then their exclusive for their weekend was by Samplers Not Forgotten, and the Holly and the Ivy, and this chart in real life is very, very pretty. Yeah, Kathleen does a beautiful job on her charts, and yeah, I'm excited to stitch this one. It's really, really pretty. The colors are just, oh, so precious, so beautiful. Like you just want to start right now. Anyways, I ordered that in 40 count. I'm not sure what the linen is. I'm intrigued by that for a minute though. But there was a, you know, a little thread card. Okay, so I guess it's maybe, yeah, I guess it's maybe called for, which is Moonstone by Fiber on a Whim. That's probably what the Country Sampler kit includes. So yeah, it'll be beautiful. I'm sure that they have more, so if you're interested in that, you can call Country Sampler down here and see what they have to offer you. And then I have been following, not following, but wanting to pick up some of these for a while. And I saw on 123 Stitch, I placed an order, I don't know, November sometime, maybe before. But my friend Lori Wilson, who owns Thread Milk Designs, she has these adorable floss drops, which are from old bottle caps, and or you know, like reimagined old bottle caps, vintage bottle caps, milk caps. And so anyhow, I ordered them up. So ordered me up a pack of 50. So those are really, really fun. I received those and I've already started using them, Lori. I love them. Thank you. All right. The final thing that I want to show is, and this I picked up, this was earlier, I don't know, probably July, August kind of time frame, but I found these on Hobby House, and these are little wool applique covers for a tape measure. So it comes with the tape measure and what have you, but I think they're by Pax's Designs, and this one is the strawberry with a little bee charm with the flower applique on, some seed beads for, you know, little seeds, and then it has this tiniest little ladybug charm. Oh, so cute. Little flower has little little, the center portion is beads stacked on top of each other. Anyways, it's, you know, it's a tape measure and it is perfect for your stitching box. So again, Hobby House, I will link that below as well. So I think that brings us to some plans, and this part is going to go fast. I'm going to finish my Windsor sampler in January as my blessing sampler. February, I would like to, I have a partially finished WIP, probably more than halfway done, the French Rosé Marie Vallée, running with needles and scissors, or scissors and needles, whatever it is. And I have that as a WIP. I'm going to finish that. I think that would be a nice Valentine's Day finish. And then I'm going to start in March the Easter Peep that I just showed you. Easter Peep with thy needle and thread and out of print chart. Then also in March is my 1 year FLOSSTUBE anniversary, and I will have a WIP parade at that point, and I will also do a product giveaway, so you won't want to miss that episode. I'll do my very best to make sure that it is not too annoying to watch, and that I do a good job with it. So April, I have a dear friend, Jeanette, and from the Milwaukee area, Brookfield, and Jeanette and I have been working to get our Innocence chart kitted up. We fell in love with this when we were at Stitch Camp this year, after we saw Kathleen's original sampler and then her finish as well, her model. This is a beautiful chart. And so it is currently kitted, or currently charted using DMCs. And we both felt that it was silk worthy. And so we made some phone calls around to the various shops to see if any of them had conversions. They did have conversions. We wanted to stitch it on 46 count. Nobody had already an Veriswa 103 conversion. And so we have now, my friend and I, Jeanette, have now worked, and we have what we believe is an Veriswa conversion, 103s. So now we are working on locating the perfect linen, and we had been working with Dames of the Needle. We still are working with Elizabeth of Dames of the Needle to try to get just a kind of a special one-off dye product, dyed linen piece, and we haven't been, she's been very busy with the Jingle Ball and the Midnight Santa release from Teresa Koga, because it was stitched on her old top hat, plus it was the holidays. So anyways, we're kind of waiting on some feedback from Edith, but once we receive that, yeah, we're gonna start stitching, because we have these beautiful silk packs, and this is a gorgeous chart. So so beautiful. Okay, and then yeah, I think that concludes this episode. I know it's a little bit long, so I apologize for that, but yeah, we'll be back, I hope, next month in February, early February, for just a regular FLOSSTUBE. We'll have less fully finishes to show, so thank you for bearing with me today and allowing me to show those items, even though you may have seen them on my Instagram. Thank you for listening to my first portion about asking for a little grace as I continue to navigate, you know, through all things of this crazy eye, and I might not say things, speak as quickly or as eloquently as I had hoped or used to be able to, but hopefully it's getting better. So thank you for that grace. And basically also, you know, at the end of it, I just really want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting. I read every single comment. I take every single comment that you make to heart, and I do respond to every single comment, so please keep doing that. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will keep producing videos. Sorry for that. Takes me a minute to get recovered from some tears. So until next time, I hope that you stay well. I hope that you are well. I hope that you are loved. I hope that you know you are loved. And I hope that you keep crossing one beautiful stitch at a time. Happy New Year. Talk soon. Bye-bye.